we see that any of these companies that have got reasonable resources of spodumene, they're quickly accelerating from 100 million market cap to $1 billion.
Hello and welcome to Paydirt TV. I'm Dominic Piper. Today I'm joined by Mick Clifford, CEO of Zenith Minerals. Mick, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Dom. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat.
Mick, last year Zenith looked like your classic junior, portfolio of mixed assets of different commodities, but you've really pivoted towards lithium in the last couple of months. Can you explain the strategy behind that?
Yeah, sure. Look, late last year we had an extensive portfolio of copper gold assets, and these span across Western Australia and Queensland. And they comprised of some reasonably advanced stage projects like Devlin Creek that has resources, and we're still working on those projects and still moving those forward. But we were approached by the EV Metals Group. So this is a group that's essentially backed by Saudi petrochemical dollars, and what they're trying to do is make a move and a shift towards electrification and securing essentially spodumene supply and nickel supply. And for us, the approach was to assist them with Project Gen exercises on lithium, and also to joint venture in on our lithium assets. So we signed that deal in mid-January this year and embarked on exploration programs on two of our assets, which we've just kicked off drilling programs on.
Let's have a look at those two assets in particular then, Split Rocks and Waratah. Well, there's plenty of lithium shows around the state.
That's right.
What's attracted you to these two projects in particular?
Well, these projects we picked up in the last lithium boom about 5 years ago. And with both of them, they were picked up on first principles. We were looking at the granite chemistry, we were looking at portions of greenstone belts up close to those fertile granites. And we noticed essentially extensive outcropping pegmatites at Waratah well that had never ever had a look in at, not a single lithium assay essentially on that tenement. And that's not uncommon throughout the goldfields, in fact. So we went out there and we've just kicked off the first ever drill program on those pegmatites. We've finished that program and are waiting on assays. Very keen for those to come in and see how we've gone there. But certainly a big field of pegmatites extending over 3 kilometres by 2 kilometres. And we know from the chemistry they are absolutely the right LCT, so they're full of tantalum, full of cesium. There's some lithium at surface, but as we understand within these systems there is some zonation, and where in that 3 by 2 kilometres is what we're looking for, being the spodumene pegmatites. So assays we should see in the next few weeks for that one. We've also kicked off a big drill program at Split Rocks. So this is a massive land holdings, about 700 square kilometres. And we're right on the doorstep of the Mount Holland lithium project, so that's Wesfarmers and SQM. And really that's a world-class lithium deposit which they're putting into production this year. And our nearest tenure is only just 10 kilometres away, so we know we've got the right jurisdiction to be working in there, and we have a series of pegmatites that run up through our tenure. And some of those have had some partial testing with some success, and we're now putting a drill program forward to test 4 of those very big pegmatites, each in scale up to 1 kilometre in length. Some have had very shallow drilling with air core drilling, just skimming the tops of those, ineffective test. And we're going to put in some deep RC now to get right through those pegmatites and see if there's the lithium and spodumene that we're all looking for.
You're obviously waiting on the results from Waratah well, and have started the programme at Split Rocks. We've seen other lithium juniors recently make really rapid progress once they're onto something.
Absolutely, yeah.
What's sort of your horizon for this year? What do you hope to achieve by the end of 2022?
Look, we would certainly like to be into a discovery, as we all would, both from the company perspective and certainly for shareholders. We see that any of these companies that have got reasonable resources of spodumene, they're quickly accelerating from 100 million market cap to $1 billion. So, that's the joy we want to experience as well, and that we want our shareholders to experience with us. The beauty about the deal with EVM is it's a great structured joint venture. We get a 40% free carry all the way through to the end of a bankable feasibility study or a feasibility study, and then they'll assist us with finance for the capital. And so essentially it's pretty much a free carry to production. So they're putting all the dollars in, they're putting a minimum expenditure across our licenses of $7 million. So we know we've got the firepower this year to keep the rigs running, to keep the crews going in the field, to have that success that we're looking for.
And are they happy for you to keep managing the program then?
Yeah, look, it's a joint effort on the exploration. We're certainly using our exploration know-how, our project gen skills as well, and we'll perhaps come to that in a minute. But it's a joint team, so the EVM group have got some really good metallurgists, process engineers. They've also got a geological team as well, and the combined teams are really working well to accelerate activities across these projects. So we know if we get onto something, we've got the know-how sitting behind us that can assist us in taking those projects right through.
You mentioned earlier project generation, and this JV seems to extend beyond the initial 2 projects. Can you explain a little bit about that side of the agreement?
Yeah, that's right. So, look, we're excited about our own projects, but we're also out there hunting for new opportunities, like a lot of the others, and it's pretty competitive. So, I think we've got a good reputation at Zenith as being skilled project generators. Pretty much all of our existing portfolio we put together ourselves. And in the lithium space, we still see some really good opportunities. And that stems everything from smaller scale miners, prospectors that we know, through to potentially bigger companies. And there might even be a little bit of open ground there as well that we consider as being fertile. So we've got a hard push on at the moment to bring in new opportunities, and then having that capital behind us with EVM, we can then accelerate into those and aggressively pursue those opportunities.
Certainly the firepower to aggressively pursue the lithium. What about the existing assets, copper gold assets in the portfolio? Will you keep them in Zenith, or will you look to do something else with them? Yeah,
sure. So at the moment we've publicly announced that we are considering a split of the company. So we've set up a subsidiary called Macro Minerals or Macro Metals. And the plan would be to demerge those assets and list those on ASX. There's a few hurdles to go through first. We're looking at all of the tax implications about moving assets, and that's tax for the company, not necessarily tax implications for shareholders, which we'll also consider. We've also then got to, of course, get ASX approval, shareholder approval, and of course the board needs to make a decision to proceed. But we see that as the likely pathway for those assets to spin those out. As part of those, we've got 25% free carried interest through to the end of a feasibility study on the Erahidi zinc discovery with Rumble Resources. So, that project alone, we can see, potential see-through valuation on that of, circa $100 million. So that really underpins, the value of Mackerel, of that potential demerger. There's lots of interest in that asset or in that portfolio already, and even EV Metals are very keen to assist us with pushing that out. So I guess it's going to be a very busy and exciting year for Zenith and Zenith shareholders as we unlock the value in that portfolio and then accelerate on the lithium side.
Certainly does sound like it's going to be a busy year for the company. Mick, you'll obviously be coming to I think you nabbed the very last spot available for the Battery Minerals Conference coming up in April. Are you finding a sense of investor enthusiasm that's going to be long lasting in this battery mineral space?
Oh, absolutely. I really think that everyone likes that clean and green story. It's a strong thematic one that's continuing on. We've only got to look at you know, the really limited amounts of particularly from the lithium side, spodumene concentrate that's available. That's all sewn up for the foreseeable future from all the producers. Anyone else coming in on the scene, you know, has really got to make new discoveries. There's massive amounts, trillions of dollars going in at the top end with the car manufacturers, with the battery manufacturers, and that's investment dollars. And we're going to see that eventually flow right through the value chain back to you know, to us, the explorers. And you know, I think we're only at the start of this growth cycle in EV metals.
Mick, thanks very much for joining us today. Best of luck with the drilling programme at Split Rocks, and I'm sure by the time we meet at the Paydirt Battery Minerals Conference in April, we'll be able to hear some of the results from Waratah well as well.
Yeah, certainly will. Thanks, Don. Thanks for your time.